Presidential spokesperson Harry Roque says President Rodrigo Duterte is irritated with Rappler reporter Ranada. That's why he gave the order to bar her from Malacanang. Roque's explanation comes a day after he said personal dislike is not a valid reason to bar a reporter from covering events in Malacanang. His latest remark also contradicts Executive Secretary Salvador Medjaldea, who earlier said Rappler is barred from covering Malacanang because Duterte was just implementing the Securities and Exchange Commission decision against the media entity. The Office of the Executive Secretary also said Rappler needs a temporary restraining order from the Court of Appeals to continue operating. Roque says Ranada was only allowed to cover presidential events after the SEC decision in January because the president liked her. But all this changed when Duterte supposedly lost confidence in Rappler. The decision to bar Rappler came after the Senate hearing on the controversial frigates deal. Malacanang insisted reports by Rappler in the Philippine Daily Inquirer on Special Assistant to the President Bongo's intervention on the controversial deal were fake news. But the Malacanang press corps on Wednesday says Ranada remains an MPC member. The MPC also reminds Malacanang it is an independent media organization that decides on issues involving its membership without interference from the palace. This is the first known incident after the Marcos regime where a Philippine president specifically ordered to ban a journalist and a member of MPC from all presidential events. Rappler in a statement describes the move as another instance of power attempting to intimidate independent journalists. The Human Rights Watch calls Malacanang's move to bar Rappler a broader assault on journalists and news organizations whose critical watchdog role has magnified the government's poor human rights record. Defense Secretary Lorenzana on Wednesday says the Presidential Security Group has no right to harm Rappler's people. This is in response to PSG Commander Lope Dagoy's statement that Rappler reporter Ranada should be thankful that the PSG personnel who stopped her at the Malacanang gate did not hurt her. Lorenzana says, quote, "That remark is uncalled for and really off the mark. Whatever Rappler's offense, the PSG has no right to harm Rappler's people or threaten them." Dagoy says he disapproved of how Ranada pressed a PSG officer on duty to explain who gave the order to ban her from Malacanang grounds. He said, quote, "Don't do that. He is just following orders. Be thankful he did not hurt you with the rudeness you showed." Ranada was barred initially from entering the new executive building without any reason given. As of posting, no written order has been shown to her by Malacanang officials. President Rodrigo Duterte himself ordered that Ranada and Rappler CEO and executive editor Maria Ressa be prohibited from entering Malacanang. Rappler slams the threat made by Dagoy against the news site in Ranada, calling his actions conduct unbecoming of an officer and a gentleman. The news site demands an apology from Dagoy or for him to be sanctioned by his superiors. Rappler in a statement says, quote, "We ask General Dagoy to apologize for his outburst or for superiors to take him to task for threatening to use force outside the battlefield." The National Police Commission says the term of Philippine National Police Chief Ronald Dela Rosa can be extended up until the time the President wants him to serve. Napolcom Vice Chairman Rogelio Casarao on Wednesday attributes this to the state of national emergency that has been in place since the Davao bombing in September 2016. He also cites the apparent omission of Director General rank or a 4-star general to the one-year cap of extension from a PNP official's retirement age. Section 26 of the Republic Act 6975 reads, quote, "The chief of the PNP shall be appointed by the President. He or she shall serve a term of office not to exceed 4 years, provided further that in times of war or other national emergency declared by Congress, the President may extend such term of office." Up until now, past presidents have read the said law's Section 39 to mean that Director Generals cannot go beyond 1 year. Section 39 states, quote, "Compulsory retirement for officer and non-officer shall be upon the attainment of age 56, provided that, in case of any officer with the rank of Chief Superintendent, Director, or Deputy Director General, the Commission may allow his retention in the service for an unextendable period of 1 year." Casarao said the law simply did not use an Oxford comma, so the Director rank or 2-star general should be read on its own. President Rodrigo Duterte earlier said he wants to extend Dela Rosa just a little bit longer. Malacanang on Wednesday slams the United States intelligence agencies, including the Central Intelligence Agency, for calling President Rodrigo Duterte a regional threat in Southeast Asia. The U.S. intelligence community, a group of 17 agencies including the CIA, earlier classified Duterte in a report as among regional threats to U.S. national security. The group cited Duterte's suggestion to declare a revolutionary government, among other things. Presidential spokesperson Harry Roque says, quote, "The U.S. intelligence community's assessment is myopic and speculative at best." Roque also claims that Duterte is no autocrat and has no autocratic tendencies. Duterte previously said he has to be a dictator to achieve change. Roque insists the president adheres to the rule of law and remains loyal to the Constitution. Duterte earlier claimed the CIA wants him out of government. He also falsely claimed the CIA funds Rappler. The United States says North Korea scrapped a secret meeting with American Vice President Mike Pence during the 2018 Winter Olympic Games in Pyeongchang after he denounced abuses from the murderous regime. Pence led the American delegation to the Winter Games in South Korea. The U.S. State Department says only a brief meeting with leaders of the North Korean delegation was on the table. But the North Koreans, who had sent ceremonial head of state Kim Yong-nam and leader Kim Jong-un's sister Kim Yo-jong to the Winter Games, backed out of the planned meeting after Pence announced Washington would soon unveil its toughest and most aggressive sanctions against Pyongyang. Pence did not interact with the North Koreans even though he was seated in the same box at the opening ceremony of the Winter Games on February 9. He also did not shake hands with Kim Yong-nam during an earlier leaders' reception.